How's everybody? Good. Let me tell you, I am absolutely thrilled to be here along with my fellow candidates, Bill Taylor and Judy Sinclair, and such fine people. People ask, do I miss being in the State Assembly? I do miss being there because of the people, because of the frequent opportunities that you have to be around people like Bill Nojay, Bob Oates, and folks like you, who believe in those values that hold our communities together in this neck of the woods. Now, Bill's right, we can't talk about how we would decide on cases that are in front of us, but we can tell you what's in our heart. And that's probably what you ought to be asking anybody that's asking for your support. You should be asking, what is in your heart? What drives you to make the decisions that you make? I've been a judge for 15 years. Before that, I was in the State Assembly. I can tell you how I voted on issues that I know are important to you in the State Assembly. I always had the highest rating from the National Rifle Association back then. I'll also tell you what's in my heart. I can tell you that now. What's in my heart constantly, every day I take the bench. Tomorrow morning will be no exception over in Ontario County Court. Every day I'll take the bench if I'm fortunate enough to have your support to elect me and my fellow candidates to the Supreme Court bench. What'll be in my heart is what's in your heart. Those beliefs in patriotism, in values, in the importance of freedom, and never forgetting, particularly judges. We are oftentimes, and Bill and I were talking about this on his radio show this past Friday, judges are oftentimes that last line of defense between you and the people that want to take your rights. I know that every day that I take that bench. And I do not take that lightly, and I know the importance of that. And as I make those decisions, what I'm thinking about is what you're thinking about. In your communities, in your homes, in your businesses, you're thinking about how important it is that we stand up for those values. I got to tell you, it's really nice to be in a room full of people that believe in those values. It's really nice to be in a room full of people who take a moment of silence, think about our law enforcement officers in our military, and pray for our law enforcement officers in our military and all the first responders that stand up for us. And I pray for you that you keep up the fight that you're involved in, because really it's a fight that goes right to the heart of what we as Americans believe in. So please keep it up. God bless all of you. I appreciate your vote on November 3rd.
Pleasure to be here. There's so many of you who I've met before at various meetings, but I want to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about myself. I started my career as a law clerk on state and federal courts in this community, and Livingston County is actually where I started. Worked as an assistant DA, as a prosecutor in Monroe County, became the Monroe County attorney, and then I became a judge. And I can tell you that when I work as a judge, I never forget any day where I came from. And I grew up in a small town, thank you. I grew up in a small town in Livingston County, in a small town where values mattered, where the people that I knew as a small child are the people that I know today. And I know that when I work as a judge, I'm working for them, I'm working for you. And I never forget that when you cast your ballot for a Supreme Court judge, you're hiring us. You're giving us a job, and our job is to serve each and every one of you. And Judge Doran, who's a dear friend of mine, talked about values, and I think values are very important. And I know as a judicial candidate, I can't talk to you about how I feel about the Second Amendment, but I can talk to you about history. I can talk to you about where I came from, and I was proud 4 years ago when I ran for a different office to have the highest possible rating from the Monroe County SCOPE organization. And that mattered to me then, and it's a piece of history that I want to share to you, or share with you. When I work as a judge, I think about my family. I have 4 children, and all of you have families, and I know that when I'm working as a judge, I'm protecting the values that allow us to live the lives that we enjoy and the freedoms that are important to us as we make our way through everyday life. And as a judge, I can tell you, I think about my 4 children, I think about my parents, I think about my neighbors and my friends. I know many of you who become friends. I think about you in my work as a judge, and I promise if you support me for Supreme Court, I will never forget that I work for you. And I promise that I will be a judge that you will be proud proud that you all voted for. So thank you all very much. Can't wait to spend some more time with you today.
As a woman I've known for many years, she's got the highest ratings for constitutional issues, including the Second Amendment, from the Republican Party and the Conservative Party that's enthusiastically endorsed her. She's worked in a law office for many years. She's volunteered for a lot of civic organizations, working with our kids and our families. Judy Sinclair, come on up and introduce yourself. She's the New York State Supreme Court.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us here today. I really want to give you a little opportunity to get to know me better. I have been a practicing attorney for 25 years. I practice in civil and criminal work. Do a little bit of everything, but let me tell you a little bit about my growing up. I was first introduced in the proper use of a rifle when I went to my brother's rifle team to practice in the basement of the school. Because back in that day, you learned about safety in school from your rifle instructor for the rifle team. Now, I admit I was never good enough to be in the rifle team, but I still went in the basement and I practiced. I do have my New York State pistol permit. I've had my Utah pistol permit for some time. I was a registered conservative, member of the Conservative Party from 1991 till December of 2014, when this opportunity came upon myself and was suggested I switch over to the Republican Party to run, which most people do, which I did. But you can take a flavor from that of what my values are, since I'm not really allowed to discuss issues. I'm married. I have 2 children with my husband. We live in Greece. 2 girls. In fact, my 20-year-old just announced to me that she would like to apply for her New York State pistol permit. So we're moving right along. In my law practice, I have represented many people who come into our office with a letter from a judge that said they want to revoke their pistol permit. And I have successfully been able to represent those people. I want to say almost all of them. I can't think of one I didn't successfully represent in holding on to their pistol permit. Through proper channels, telling the judge a little bit more about the incident or why the incident was occurred. So I'm very excited about this opportunity to run. And why am I running? I'm running because I think all of us have an obligation to make the community the best it can be. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an attorney, I'm a member of this community. It's you are too. You do your part to make your community the best it can be, and then it falls on my shoulders, if you elect me as a judge, to promote that community effort to being the best it can be. So I would appreciate one of your 4 votes.